Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and chlorinated chickens, and welcome to The Struggle, a news talk show powered by fake hurricane maps. I'm your host, Tavleen. Tonight, we discuss PornHub cleaning oceans, Brexit, and why the backyard barbecue might be under threat. Rejection. As millennials, we are becoming increasingly used to it. Be it love, loans, employment, you name it, we have all been rejected from it. But one young woman from Sydney isn't taking no for an answer. Jessica Irving applied for a job at Aldi's in Sydney and quickly received the classic thanks but no thanks email, letting her know she didn't make it through to the next stage. While most of us would likely move on at this point, Irving decided to clap back, replying by saying she would like to reject their rejection. Amazingly, she secured an interview the very next day. With youth unemployment at 12.9% and a recent study finding that we are the first generation to be worse off than our parents, maybe us millennials need to take a leaf out of Jessica's book and simply refuse rejection. To help us with our job prospects, let's cross to Emily for her top tips on employment.
Oh, hi, welcome back to I'm a Millennial, Get Me Out of Here. Now today we are going hunting, job hunting. That's right, the old 9 to 5, rise and grind. I mean, I tried out for an internship recently and that didn't work out, but like who cares, right? Like, who wants to work for free? My time is worth the dime. Whatever, it's fine, because I'm going to show you the top tips you need for employment. Now, according to WikiHow's page, you need a resume that's going to match the job description. So follow me on my journey to employment. I'm going to be applying for a waitressing job, and the key skills I need for that are multitasking. All right, so I've got that pretty much down packed. I mean, I go on Spotify while on Facebook, while on my morning jog. I'm pretty much an ace at juggling things. Communication is the next big one. So I Messenger, I Skype, I Snapchat, I WhatsApp, I even call my mum on the weekends. So I feel like I've got this one pretty much in the bag. Then the next key thing you're going to need to ace that job interview or to get that job in the first place is to have experience. And in order to get experience, you need to have had a job. But in order to get a job, you need experience. But in order to get experience, you need a job. In order to get a job, you need experience. To get experience, you need a job. Experience. Job. Should I be talking a bit more? Let's go. Anyways, that is all you basically need to know on how to get a job. Now I'm just going to sit back, relax, wait for that restaurant to call me back, and I'm sure I'll have that job in...
Emily, we just got a call from the restaurant. You didn't get the job.
Oh. Okay. Right. Back to you, Tavleen.
Keep on trying, Emily. You'll get there, I hope. Now, let's turn up the heat a little. First, they help save the bees. Now, they're cleaning up beaches. One philanthropic organization is doing more for environment than our government is. Who am I talking about? Why, PornHub, of course. Yup, that's right. PornHub has launched their Dirtiest Porn Ever campaign to clean up the world's oceans. The company's vice president, Corey Price, says ocean pollution is becoming one of the most significant global issues of our lifetime. And that is why it is imperative they use their platform to raise awareness and inspire change.
Both the president and the administrator of the EPA are active climate change deniers, and PornHub is cleaning up beaches. We live in confusing times.
Whether or not they're doing it for the good of the environment or for the halo effect, we don't know. Regardless, here's our HR correspondent to bring us more on the situation.
Thanks, Tavleen. Today, I'm here to talk about how we all need to be trying to be more like PornHub. They're taking teenage boys off the streets and into the sheets for a good cause. Every day, more and more consumers are demanding that companies better improve their practices to better address environmental and ethical concerns. So really, it's time that we be caring more about our social responsibility. Here at The Struggle, I'm doing all that I can to implement strategies to make us a more sustainably social enterprise. And you can't spell social responsibility without SECS, also known as sex, sustainably and ethically conscious staff. This new policy, designed by yours truly, is dedicated to ensuring that all employees at The Struggle only wear undergarments made out of recycled materials. I'm talking bras being made of old plastic bottles and jocks and knickers being made from old tyres. My bra is made from single-use plastics, and so I'm supporting my breasts and the environment at the same time. The sex plan also involves a sucking for sustainable change policy, where only metal straws are allowed to be used here at The Struggle. But our plan doesn't just involve sustainable sucking, it also involves biodegradable blowing. That's right, now all of our tissues are made from 100% recycled paper. These new initiatives are designed to make the Struggle team a more ethical and sustainable workplace and make sure that we're all giving a hand to the environment. Come on, Struggle team, let's get sexy. Back to you, Tavlin.
Wow, Denise, who knew recycling could be that attractive? Anyway, it's time for a short break. Welcome back. Over to the UK now, and Brexit is making about as much sense as having a mid-semester break at the end of week 9. And for Boris Johnson, things haven't exactly been going his way. Not only was his move for a snap election defeated, but members of his own party voted with the opposition to prevent the UK from leaving the EU without a deal on October 31st. It's fair to say Boris wasn't impressed, because the 21 renegades were subsequently expelled from the Conservative Party, and to formalize matters, the banished MPs were asked to remove themselves from the party's WhatsApp group. Ouch. But Brexit's been in limbo for more than 3 years now, and the fact that a viable solution still hasn't been found means Boris is literally trying anything and everything to resolve the situation, be it exclusion from the group chat or even a bit of name-calling.
But Mr. Speaker, I know he's worried about free trade deals with America, but there's only one chlorinated chicken that I can see in this house, and he's on that bench.
While the whole Brexit saga may not seem to directly concern those outside of the UK, in terms of the Commonwealth, it's essentially like Australia's parents are in the middle of a long, drawn-out dispute. And like any well-intentioned child, Australia has offered up one of its own to mediate the quarrel, and it's none other than Onion Man himself, Tony Abbott. On that note, let's cross to our far-right correspondent, Pauline Han-Sang, to work out what exactly Mr. Abbott is doing with his life after politics.
They're after me. They're after me. Everyone's after the authorities. Everyone. And they even raided my house as well. They took everything away from me except for this masterpiece. It was the only thing that I could salvage before they could destroy everything that I created. And Pauline, after they were done going after Pauline, they were gonna go for my man, Tony Abbott too. Tony, he's the only one of those Canberra wimps that actually managed to stand up to the leftists that actually run our country. And not to mention, they're just trying to rewrite history and trying to deny the greatest Prime Minister of all time his dignity. And it just doesn't make sense. Like, they're not even giving him any speeches in Australia anymore, no media attention. So he has to go back to the UK. And I mean, that's okay though, because him and Bojo are kind of getting together and they're having some nice talks. Oh, Tony, I know Pauline will be proud of you. Australians just don't know how to act on the world stage. Like, take that drongo of a Prime Minister of ours. What's his name again? Scummo? Scott Murray? Scummo, yes, Scummo. He decides to use some of our money to pay for an underwater cable for Timor-Leste so they can have faster internet. But let's be real. Australia's still on NBN and we still have dial-up. We need it. Speaking of Australians putting their noses where they shouldn't belong, what about Flume literally eating an entire ass in Burning Man? Like seriously, an ass? I mean, I wouldn't mind if Bojo actually ate my...
Cut.
Just when we thought our pollies went brown noses enough, I never really got Eurovision. Like, why do we have Eurovision and why is Australia even a part of it? And we just send some guy there to represent us? Yeah, nothing Australia does overseas makes sense. And seeing that everyone else is overseas, you know what I'm gonna do?
Oh, sorry, Pauline, did you say something? Love thy neighbor. It's an outdated phrase and way harder than it sounds. Perth vegan Sheila Carden has taken her neighbours to the Supreme Court of Western Australia over what can be best described as the crime of the century. Miss Carden has been enduring the excruciating pain of living next door to neighbours who barbecue, smoke, and sometimes play basketball.
And the barbecuers next door.
They've put it so you smell fish. All I smell is fish.
But is lighting a durry, playing a sport, and cooking smoky barbecued fish really that bad? Honestly, it just sounds like an average night at a caravan park. It turns out Miss Carden isn't the only neighbour this year to kick up a fuss. A family also residing in Perth has taken legal action after their neighbour's kids kicked over one too many footballs. And in California last month, Catherine Kidd's emoji-decorated house was complained about to the council by her neighbours. So far, most of these cases have been unsuccessful or are still in court. That's why we have turned to our legal correspondent, Sued Again, to find out what we can actually sue the people next door for.
Thanks, Tavleen. Actually, no thanks. I have decided to appeal to the Supreme Court for losing my defamation case against you. But being the dedicated and fantastic lawyer I am, I have decided to remain with the struggle. Now, this woman called Scylla, she needs some advice as to when to actually pursue a legal claim. So I am here to dish her some tips and some meat. Do I look like I know how to use this thing? We're using this one. Now Scylla is claiming that her neighbours are acting unreasonably because they're cooking on the barbie. What would be unreasonable if they were conducting an abattoir business in their own backyard or somebody else's backyard. Now Scylla argues that the children next door are being extremely unreasonable by playing basketball in their own backyard. But this is way too trivial for a nuisance claim. If you want to sue someone under nuisance, it needs to be for something much more unreasonable. For example, you need to be at least using a leaf blower for a couple hours a day. Who's ready to party? Woo! Party in the house, we've got good times coming and I like to party all night and day. The truth is, if you want to make a nuisance claim, it has to be for something like a dog barking 24/7, or your neighbour has to be the worst musician in the world, or they have to be partying every night of the week. Then the court might be a bit more sympathetic. In the meantime, back to you, Tavleen.
Thanks, Sue. Well then, time for another break. Welcome back. Here at The Struggle, our fans constantly ask how we managed to remain such an incredible and critically acclaimed success. One of the biggest factors is keeping a close eye on our competition. Recently, a television program called The Leak came to our attention. It's run by RMIT and describes itself as taking an incisive and satirical look at the events making news.
Hello and welcome to The Leak, the only news show that no longer exploits the labour of caged correspondents and will from here on out be using the only humane solution, holographic correspondence.
It's a textbook case of theft. It should go without saying, but combining both news and comedy is a unique concept exclusive to The Struggle. Adding insult to injury, The Leak had the audacity to steal this from us 3 whole years before we even launched this show. The Struggle has no choice but to officially demand The Leak cease all further news satire operations. Several members of our team have achieved credits in compulsory law units, so don't think we are messing around. We'll be bringing you more updates on this case as they come. Moving on to other television news, and Australians recently got to witness the new live variety show from Rove McManus. The highly anticipated pilot aired live on a Saturday night. Personally, I was busy and didn't get a chance to watch it. Then the following week, the footy was on. Luckily, our fangirl correspondent is here to give us the rundown about Saturday Night Rove.
Great stuff. Now it's time for What The?
Thanks, Tevleen. Oh my god, you guys. Saturday Night Rove. What a show! I loved every minute of it. I mean, it's just one of those shows where reading the fan discussions after each episode is like half the fun.
I guess that makes this segment redundant. I don't know. What else am I passionate about?
Ooh, Australia's latest GDP figures show the lowest annual growth in like 18 years. Economic growth of the recent June quarter was at 0.5%. Guys, that is the lowest figure in almost 3 decades. While our economy isn't actually shrinking, unlike that of the UK, Germany, or Singapore, we aren't exactly experiencing the climate of economic strength that the government championed over the election period. Although Australia is technically on its 29th consecutive year of expansion, experts predict that if this performance continues, the RBA could lower interest rates even further. Early last week, traders were looking to sell, following US and China imposing new tariffs on each other. Things in Hong Kong seemed to be getting worse, and Brexit remained the dumpster fire of the UK. But by the end of the week, however, traders were looking to buy. Trump agreed to restart negotiations with China, the controversial extradition bill in Hong Kong was withdrawn, and Boris Johnson had no luck appealing to the UK's parliament. Of course, the worse Johnson performs, the greater likelihood of a no-deal Brexit. The Australian dollar remains at 68 US cents, and safe haven commodities such as gold and silver dropped as Wall Street recovered and investor confidence increased. Back to you, Tavleen.
Geez, is there anything you won't fangirl over? And now, to give some attention to our furry, adorable companions that melt away the stresses of our day, it's time for a bit of animal news. Except this week, the creatures are anything but cute and cuddly. In Sydney, a hostile magpie that wreaked havoc on a local community was shot and killed after the Hillshire Council received more than 40 complaints about the belligerent bird. Following incidents including swooping under cyclists' helmets and attacking people's faces, which led to some victims going to hospital, the council had tried to relocate the bird on multiple occasions, but to no avail. The magpie was also considered to be a significant risk to public safety due to its uncharacteristically territorial behavior, which just so happens to be an accurate description of Pauline Hanson. Oh, and Peter Dutton. News of the magpie's death, however, has seemingly prompted the avian community to interpret this as an attack on birds of all species. In what some are describing as an act of retribution, an aggressive rooster attacked an elderly woman gathering eggs from the chicken coop in her yard, which led to her death. The rooster apparently pecked and ruptured a varicose vein on the South Australian woman, with the resultant bleeding determined to be the main cause of death. But this isn't the first time a rogue rooster has caused chaos, with Today's Show weatherman Steve Jacobs all too familiar with the animal's antics. And over at Sunrise, it seems as though they've got the inside word on where offending roosters are relocated.
Sam Mack, you've had a humdinger this morning in the Cook Islands.
Wow, I mean...
Well, on that note, it's time to lock up for the night and yet another episode. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, and let us know about any other angry animals in the comments below. For those of you who play, enjoy the rest of International Sudoku Day. But for now, say hi to your mum for me. I mean, the struggle. It's real.